Hi, good afternoon. My name is Michele and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up here in New South Wales, Australia. I'd like to welcome you today, and please, if you haven't been on before, jump on, say hello, let me know where you're from. It's always great to see new people and where you are all from. So I'm going to get started very quickly today. Just a little bit of a background on the card we're going to make. It is another fun fold, and I did come across it from the same place as I came across the one that we did last week, which is Pink Fresh Studio. I'm just having a quick look at my notes here at the side, so I got that name right. So it's Pink Fresh Studio. You can look them up. Think they may be English. I'm not really 100% certain. But they've got some really great ideas and some really nice fun folds. So we're going to give this a bit of a go today. So I'm going to turn my camera or put my downward camera into view. So please excuse the camera in my face. And let's flip this, and hopefully this week we don't have any camera issues. Now I'm just going to lift my light up a little bit because we're getting a bit of rolling there. So there we go, that makes it better. Okay, just a little bit of a reminder, you can find me on Butterflies and Bows, which is written down the bottom of your screen there. And that is my blog site there, which I do post most of these cards that I make. Sorry, I've still got a little bit of rolling. Okay, let's hopefully that gets rid of it. And I will try to put the measurements we're going to use today on that. I will go through the measurements a little bit with you, but if I have the measurements there on my blog, at least you've got something there to jump on and have a look at. So we're going to use the Hand-Penned Petals, and this is my little mock-up of this fun fold card. So it's quite an interesting card. It's not a card that you would open and put your greetings or whatever inside your cards. So we are going to pop a panel on the back of it so you can pop your greetings on there. Now this is made out of a full-size sheet of letter card. I can hear myself. Just let me hold a second, just check my sound. Let's see if I can get it further off. Okay. I can hear myself repeat. I'm hoping that you're not getting that. Okay, I've got that muted. That's all fine. So, okay, what we've got is what we've got today. So, as I said, it takes a full sheet of letter size cardstock or A4 cardstock. I will try to give you the measurements in both. I've gone for this, the Hand-Penned Petals, as it's quite I love this stamp set, and it has got this beautiful edge as well that we can use with it, and this card does need a decorative edge on it. Okay, so let's just start by having a look at all our cardstock. So what I have done so far is I have taken a piece of my A4 cardstock and folded it in half. So we've got two pieces here. So I folded in half, sorry, I've cut it in half at 14.9. So if I butt those two pieces together, there's your A4 divided in half at 14.9. At the moment, no score lines or anything are in this. We're going to do that in a moment. Then I have a piece for the back of our card. So this one here is going to go at the back there, and that measures 10 by 14.4. I've got a little piece of a decorative strip which we're going to attach down there. We may also put something else on here as yet, haven't quite decided. I've got a piece here which is 14.9 by 10.5 centimeters of some designer series paper. Now I'm using the designer series paper. I'm trying to find, where did I put mine? Here we go. So this one here is the Dainty Flowers Designer Series paper, and this one you'll find in the Celebration Catalogue. So with the Celebration Catalogue, spend $90 on anything from the annual catalogue or the mini catalogue, and you can choose something for free. There's two different what would you call it, levels. So there's a $90 level and there's a $180 level. So you'll find in the Celebration Catalogue products you can get in there when you spend $90 and products you can get when you spend $180. So this is the Designer Series paper from that. And then I have two other strips, again at 14.9, and these are almost 3 centimeters in width. We have another piece of, because the colour I'm using is the Fresh Freesia, another piece of the Fresh Freesia, and that is 2 centimeters by 9 centimeters. I've got a piece of Pear Pizzazz, which we're going to be cutting out part of our sentiment in. I've got a piece of the gold from the Gold and Rose Gold metallic specialty paper. I love this gold because it does have that little bit extra texture in it. And I've got a piece of adhesive sheet which we're going to use on that. And then I've got another piece of basic white which we're going to do some stamping on. Now I have already cut here. I've just taken some dies from this bundle, which is from the Hand-Penned Petals, and it had some extra die pieces in there. So I've cut some in vellum. I'm not quite sure whether we'll use these as yet. And I've also got it cut in the Pear Pizzazz. Okay. So let me just have a quick look at something here. Okay then. So let's just keep going. Oh, I've also got here some bows that I've pre-tied in both the crinkle cut seam binding, and I've also made a big bow using baker's twine because I'm just not quite sure yet which one we're going to use. I'm using for my sentiment the Amazing Thanks dies, and I'm just going to use the thanks from that. So I have got them here. So we're going to do a little bit more die cutting. As I said, I've got that scalloped edge from the Hand-Penned Petals bundle, which that's already in that. So we're going to do a bit of die cutting with that as well. So I'm just going to pop my measurements just there where I can see them, hopefully. I'll pop them there on the side, doesn't matter. As usual, I'm working in a very small confined area because I tend to crowd myself out on my desk. Oh well. Okay, so let me pop these to one side because we don't need those. And what we do need at the moment is our two pieces of the Fresh Freesia cardstock. Oh, my mind is gone today. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of scoring. So let me just bring my measurements out for my scoring. I will give it to you in both centimeters and in inches. And this is done in 2 parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one piece of our cardstock and we're going to lay that longer length, which is the 29 centimeters across the top, or 11 inches. And we're going to start off with by just scoring at 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch. Just make sure your cutting one is completely out of the road. So we've got 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters, and we're going to take this to 4.5 centimeters or 1 3/4 inches and score again. Then we're going to go to 7.5 centimeters, which is at your 3-inch mark. Then 10.5 centimeters, which is at your 4.5-inch mark. So that we're going to do that to our first piece. Then we're going to pop that to one side, grab our second piece and just repeat that again. So we're going to score at 2.5 centimeters, 4.5 centimeters, 7.5 centimeters, and 10.5. As I said, I will pop this up onto my blog, so you do get those measurements. So let's just move this out of the road for the moment. So there's our 2 pieces there, all scored. And what we are going to do is we're going to, so I've got my 2 scored areas there on my left-hand side. I'm going to flip them around, so I've got one on my left, one on my right. So let's just start with this piece first, and let's just fold it. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold that under, fold that over, fold that back under again, and fold that over. Grab your bone folder and give that a really nice press. I'm just going to turn that over and just give that a good press on the other side. And also what I'm going to do is just get my pencil here. And what I want to do is mark, if you can see there, I've got all the folds all coming together there. So I just want to put a little bit of a pencil mark there, and the same at the other side. So a little bit of a pencil mark there, and I'll show you why, because we're actually going to remove that little edge, because you can see that is actually at the moment wider than our card. Now we're going to repeat the same thing with our other piece of cardstock. So I'm going to fold that under, and then fold it over the top, under again, and then over the top. So what you've actually got is 2 mountains and 2 valleys. Okay. Again, just grab my bone folder, give that a really good press, flip that over, and press that on the other side as well. And again, just mark where the edge of that card's finish. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So now we need to bring in our die here, and we want to cut this here. So I'm just going to flatten it out again. I've got this post-it note tape here. It's put out by Burroughs, and you can purchase that from any of your local Officeworks. And what I'm doing is I'm lining up those scallops, so the top of my scallop with that pencil mark that I've made, and then popping that piece of post-it note on there. So we're going to remove this edge. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to fold this part here over the top, so my cutting is going to be underneath. I am going to get an indent impression. So let me just clear some room here and bring in the large cut and emboss machine. Now, unfortunately, it's too big for my screen. So we're going to pop that into there. Fold that in half like we just had it, making sure everything's all lined up where we want it. Pop the top part on, and then put it through our cutting machine, or our cut and emboss. Now remember too, at the moment, if you join my team at the moment, you can get the new mini cut and emboss machine, which is in a beautiful boho blue color. Now, as I said, you do get a bit of an indentation on there, but we haven't cut that, and we are going to cover most of that up, so I'm not worried about it. And if I very carefully remove my post-it notes, I'm left with that edge there, and if I refold it, it's going to fold now almost in line with my folds. So we want to repeat the same thing again, but this time with the other piece. So again, just flatten out my card, lining up those pencil marks with the top of my scallops. Pop that down there. Okay, just making sure that that's all lined up where I want it to be. Nothing has moved. Pop that on top, and then let's run this through. So now, if you're thinking about joining Stampin' Up, now is a good time to do it. So, because you can get that boho blue cut and emboss machine. You still have to pay a little bit more, but you're not paying the full amount that you would normally do. And at the moment, without joining, you can only purchase the white mini cut and emboss. So it'd be quite special to get that blue one. Okay, just gently peel that off. We don't need any of that. So let's pop that all into the bin. Put that die to one side, and let's go back to our card. Okay. So again, just folding all those folds in. Just go over that again with your bone folder. Just making sure that's nice and creased. Now, I probably have gone in a little bit there, further in than I wanted, but I don't think it's going to be that noticeable once we put our card together. So there's our card. So now what we have to do is we're going to slip these two inside of each other like that and adhere that together. So you could do that with either a multi-purpose glue or your seal. I like my multi-purpose glue because I can move it in. But if you are using multi-purpose glue, don't put your glue right up to the edge because you need to leave some room for that glue to spread. I'm just going to pop a little bit more into there. And I'm going to pop this one into the fold of that one there. Just making sure that everything is nice and even before that glue dries. There we are. That is looking good. Oh, now I've got a little bit of a mark on there. Let's go see if I can remove that because I don't want that mark there. Yep, that's probably just hit the pencil. Okay, so let's just give this another good crease with our bone folder. So that's those panels there. So the next pieces we need are the pieces that we've cut to go on the inside of this. So this is two pieces here. So this one here measures 10.5 centimeters by my 14.9, which if you were doing that with the imperial measurements with the letter size cardstock would be 5.5 by 4.5, I think 4.5. Does that sound right? Let me just double check that. 4.25, I think it'd be. So yeah, that should be, that piece there is going to be about 4.25. You could make it just that little bit narrower, just so then it sits on the inside there quite nicely. So it's really just going to sit on the inside of our card like that. As I said before, if you are new to my channel, please say hello. You could be watching this from either YouTube or Facebook. Just let me know your name and where you're from. Okay, so we're going to glue that piece into there. So that piece there is 10.5 centimeters by my 14.9. And then I have these two pieces here, and they are going to go on here. So again, they're the 14.9, which is the full width of my card, and about 2.5 centimeters wide. And I have, sorry, 3 centimeters wide. And I have made this slightly narrower, just because I don't want it going over the outside edge of my folds on my cards. So again, just taking that right into that fold there and butting it up into that fold and positioning that there. Give that a good rub down with your bone folder, and then we're going to do the same over this side as well. Hi Margie from Taree, how are you and how's it going your way today? Did you have a nice Australia Day yesterday? Glad you're able to join us. And then we're going to pop that one in there like that. So now when we fold this card, it's going to fold up just like so. Now this little piece here, which is the strip here, which I've cut at 2 centimeters by 9 centimeters, is going to be a piece we're going to adhere across there. And now I've just basically taken it inside those lines there, and I'm going to just glue that into position there, and that's going to allow that card just to sit up nicely like that. And then we're going to base all our decorations on this piece here. So all our sentiment and everything is going to be attached to this strip. So all I'm going to do here is just put a little bit of glue just down the edges of that strip there. Now, as I said before, you can use your seal, and I'll probably use Seal Plus for this one. Now I'm going to line this up using my grid paper and to work out, keeping this nice and straight, where that's going to move across there. So I'm using my grid lines just to line up that line there. Now I'm not putting that right in the center. It is below center about, whoops, you might just need to hold that for a little bit. My fingers are getting a little bit sticky, so I'm going to just add a block onto that just to hold that and let that dry. Quiet Australia Day. Yeah, it was very hot here, and yes, we also got the big thunderstorms here last night as well. I'm in Mossvale near the Southern Highlands, and they had lots of hail over in Barrel. Sounded like we had a little bit of hail on our roof, but I think it was more like really heavy rain. Lots of thunder and lightning about though. So but we're supposed to be getting some more hot days this weekend. So it's sort of either cold or hot at the moment. We're still sort of got blankets on our bed, which we don't usually have at this time of the year, or cotton blankets rather. Okay, so there's our card base standing like that. So that now will just stand like that. It's almost like a trying to think of it, a stage type card. Okay, so we are going to, as I said before, we're going to put a panel on the back of this so we can do our have somewhere for our greetings and everything. But otherwise, we're now going to decorate this piece here. So we're going to set this piece aside, and we're going to bring in just a piece of cardstock, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to use my Memento Black, and the image that I'm going to stamp is this one here. I just wanted something that was quite fine. I love this one here, but I was just a little bit concerned it may have been a little bit too big. So I'm going with this one. And with this stamp here, if you don't like to colour in, you've got these pieces here which all fill in the flowers and everything. If the leaves, you would have to use these two leaves here just to fill in those areas or just colour those in. But let's have a bit of a play. And we're going to use our memento. Now, I've already blocked my stamps up, and what I do need, because these are a photopolymer stamp, is my foam pad underneath, a bit of a smaller piece of scrap paper on top just to keep my foam pad nice and clean. Make sure you get a good coverage of ink on this, and we're going to stamp that up there. Just hold that down for a few seconds just to let that ink settle. So Margie, have you seen Stampin' Up before? So that's what we're going to do with that. Now the two stamp pads I've brought out to use today is the Fresh Freesia, which is the same as our cardstock. Excuse me. And my Pear Pizzazz. So we're going to start off with our Fresh Freesia. Now by having the foam pad, oh, you're a hobby demo. Wonderful. By having the foam pad underneath your work, the red rubber stamps have a sheet of foam next to the red rubber. With the photopolymer, we don't have that. So we need the foam underneath to give a bit of cushioning so we get good coverage with our ink. Now, the beauty of photopolymer is you can see through it and you can position your stamp where you want it to go. Now, with these images here, if you're a little bit off, I really wouldn't worry about it too much because I don't think the images actually fit it perfectly. No, it's a new fold, Margie. I've come across a company called, let me get the name right, Pink Fresh Studio. I came across them on Instagram and really loved some of their interesting folds. And if you go onto their website, they have links to their blog. And then from their blog, they've got a drop-down box and you've got either scrapbooking or card making. Now, this is in the card making section, of course. And I'm just going to just stamp this off a little bit and then stamp it on because I just want it to be a little bit lighter in colour. Now I'm just trying to line this up. As I said, I don't think it's going to line up perfectly, but I do want it to line up as best as it can. What was I going to say? Yeah, that they have some really interesting folds, and I think these folds date back to around about November, so of last year. So you do have to search a little bit to find it, but they've and read through it, and because they're all in inches and they're using letter size cardstock. So maybe they're not English. I thought they might have been English. They might be more American. But yeah, no, worthwhile having a look at and having a look at what they've got. I mean, I don't go for the products or anything because I'm using Stampin' Up, but I do like to have a look at and see, you know, things that are a little bit different and then converting it to our products or our colours and cardstocks and that sort of thing. Okay, so all I'm going to do with these is this is the leaf, and I'm just going to stamp that around. Now I do know that this one here is not quite exactly the same in size, but none of this stamps really do fit it perfectly, even though they are part of the suite or the bundle. And I'm going to use a smaller one for that. Just to get that one in there. And then what I'm going to do here is just, again, just stamp that little bit of colour there. Okay. I'm not going to worry about colouring in the petals, the stems. I'm just going to leave that out. Yeah, well worth checking out, Margie. Yeah, but you just have to search through, and you do have to sort of read through it maybe a couple of times to sort of really get the gist of, because it's not actually step by step of what they're suggesting you do to make their cards, but just some really interesting folds, a little bit different to what we see every day, which is what I like. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to die cut that. So let me just grab out of here the die that coordinates with that particular one, which is that one. And I'm going to just trim this down a little bit. Just wondering where I've put my scissors. Yep, I did have them. So we're going to die cut that, but we're also going to die cut these words. We might as well do it all together. So we've got the thanks and we've got the outline. So you've got 2 thanks. And as I said, that comes from the Amazing Thanks dies. These stamp sets and dies I haven't used for a while. So it's actually quite good to pull out a few things that you haven't used for a while and just have another bit of a play with them. So this is the adhesive sheets, which is really good when you're doing these dies that you want to lay on top of each other. It's just getting the backing off, which could take a little bit of time. So a little bit of fiddly here. That's okay, got it. So that's my adhesive side there. I'm going to flip that over and pop that on just in there. That a good rub down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my smaller thanks in this one. So just check where I've got. So that's going to go there. And then my larger thanks I'm going to do in some Pear Pizzazz. But I'm not putting the adhesive sheet on that one because this one is going to glue on top of that one, which you'll see in a minute. But then I want to allow no adhesive on the back of this one because it is going to go over that strip and overhang that strip a little bit. So I don't want to have adhesive back on the back of that. So let me just bring in my smaller die cut machine. Move some of these out of the road. Yeah, I'll put all my measurements on my blog, Margie. So for this card that I've cut, and I'll have both the metric and the imperial on there. So let's just cut this one out first. Oops, just make sure that's lined up where I want it. That one through. This one, I want to have that there. Because this is the one with the adhesive sheet on the back of it. Now with this, you do need to make sure, because it's a slightly thicker cardstock, to make sure it has cut through, and that has. And then we have our last piece here, which is our little floral piece. Line all of that up. If you are a little bit concerned, you can put a post-it note on there. We'll just see how we go. Okay, I probably could have taken it over a little bit that side, but that's okay. You could trim this around if you want, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. But I'm quite happy with that one. This one here. Now, I've got 2 stamp camps coming up. If anyone is interested in them, you will find all the information on my blog. I do have the first one is in February, so I can't tell you the exact date, and we're using By the Bay bundle. To attend that stamp camp, you do need to buy the By the Bay suite through me on my shop. And once you've done that, you will get free access on the day to our Facebook page. Facebook page, sorry, where we'll have during the day 13, or over 24 hours almost, 13 demonstrations from demonstrators from around the world. And you also get make and takes for 13 cards. So you'll get a tutorial and all the cardstock that you need to create another 13 cards. So all up, you'll have instructions for 26 cards, 13 via Facebook Live and 13 via a tutorial. The other one I've got happening is the Rain and Shine collection with another group, and there's different price points that you can join that one on as well. But if you're already a demo, hobby demo, you can actually just buy the tutorial and get access, free access to the Facebook Live. And there's 4 of us participating in that one. So all the information on that is on my blog. So what I'm going to do now with these, I've peeled these 2 apart, and I'm just going to take the backing off the gold one, because remember we used that adhesive sheets on that. So I'm just going to very gently pull off the backing there, and then layer this, just starting at one end. Now you do have to be very careful because this is a script font and the fonts can stretch out a little bit. So we sort of do want to keep it where it should be. And I'm just layering that right in the center there, just doing 1 letter at a time, trying to make sure that I have got the pear pizzazz all around the outside edge. It does stick to your fingers a little bit, unfortunately. If you just work a little bit at a time, pushing them back into because where they're supposed to be, you will eventually get that to look like that. Now that's a little bit off there. I don't know whether I can peel that off and fix. Yes, I can. So my T is just a little bit out. and that's looking much better. So you'll end up with a piece like that. Let's just get rid of all that rubbish. Bring our card back in again. So we've got our card like that. So there's our top of our card. There's our bottom of our card. And now we're just going to work out where we're going to position all these. So this piece here I want positioned, I want it glued onto here a little bit. I'm hoping that my thanks will fit across there. So we might take that up a little bit higher. I've got no adhesive as yet on the back of any of these, so we can work out where they're going to go. So I need to put a little bit of adhesive probably behind this flower, behind these two leaves, and down here near this join. So I'm going to use that as my guide, and I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue. So I need a little bit of adhesive there. I'm just going to pop that little bit out. And I want it up behind that flower. And I want a little bit down on there, but I don't want too much. So I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap cardstock and just remove some of that. And we're going to just pop that on there and just hold that for a few seconds, just to let that dry. It's got a fair bit of weight in this card because we've got a lot of thicknesses through here, and we're still going to put another thickness on. So it will stand up really nice. So there's that. I think what I might do is just pop this to one side just to let that dry, but also I want to bring in this back panel. Before I put too much onto the front of this card, I want to put this on the back. So I'm going to pop a bit of glue on there. And I'm going to pop that there. Whoops, it's moved. Okay. I am going to grab my, this ribbon, which is your crinkle cut, and I just want to cut it a little bit longer than what I need. I'm going to get my seal, and I just want to put a little bit of seal there at the top and the bottom. So where I put it, if there's, now that's moved a little bit. Let me see if I can still push that across. So there's my panel, my little strip there. I've just put a bit of adhesive at the top and bottom on the back of there. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to take this piece of ribbon, layer that on top and fold it over, and then take it down and fold that over again. Whoops, missed the, okay, I need to put that little bit of seal further across. Just fold that under. Now what we can do is pop some more adhesive. Now you could use your seal, but I just like using my multi-purpose glue because it does allow me some slip to get this into the right position. And then on the back of my card, I'm going to position that. And that's going to hide all of the indentations and everything left from when we die cut that edging. Hi Lucia, how are you going? Okay, so that's our back of our card, and here's the front. So now we've got our sentiment is going to go across there, and I have got these little bits and pieces. Now I didn't sort of spread the glue out too much underneath this because I'm not quite sure whether we are going to add some of these pieces here. So I've just got, I can easily slip some of these vellum pieces. I think I'm just having a look at this here underneath. Yeah, I think we could go just have a bit of the play and just tuck these in. I'm going to come back and glue these in if I'm happy. Just wanted to add a little bit more of a lacier touch to this. Now again, I just want to see if I can slip that in underneath there. Don't want to add too much green because I don't want it to take away from the thanks. So let me just take some of these out. Let's just have a look. Because the green is quite strong. Okay, what we might do is I might just see if I can put some mini dimensionals behind my thanks, because I can slip some leaves and that in there. So let's have a look at this. So we can pop mini dimensional there. So that can go onto there. We probably want another one in the middle there, and at least one more there. Now you can trim these mini ones down a little bit if you think that they are a little bit too wide, like that one there is a little bit. So I'm just going to trim that down a bit. We also have the ribbons. So I've got the two ribbons, one in the baker's twine and one in the crinkle cut seam binding. Hi Joan, how are you? Just doing a fun fold here that I found on a website, the same one as I got the last one we did last week, and it is called, I keep forgetting, Pink Fresh Studio. Got some really interesting fun folds. Okay, so that's going to go there. I might just take that out for the moment. Let's work out where we're going to use these bows. We're going to use both of them or one of them. That's if we use one. We could pop one on there. I think we might just go for one. I think using two could be a little bit fussy because it's already fairly fussy. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? One bow or two? One to sit on top of the other. Okay. I need ideas, everyone. What do you think? Yes, no, or just go the single, which is that one. Speak now. One bow, Margie. You like the 2? Okay, Joan, you're the decider. We lost. Joan likes the 2. Sorry, Margie, we'll go the 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab glue dot. Just take the sticky off my end of my scissors. Put that on the back. Sorry, I'm doing this off screen. Pop that on the back of there. Then let's grab a second glue dot. I need a buzzer. For when I have something off screen, you can buzz me and go, bam, it's off screen. Okay. And we're going to pop that just at a bit of an angle, just there, and then we can trim that down, and we can trim that one. Okay. So there's our bows. Don't you love when bows want to twist up on you? Do we need a bit more bling? Actually, the butterflies would be quite nice on that because it's a real little, very girly. I think I like the butterflies. Today is a day of using things I haven't used for a while. Now we still have, actually, before I put those on, we still have all of these here that I've cut, and we've got to decide whether we're putting these on or not. Don't have to use these. These are just filler. Or whether, if I put the butterflies on, whether that would be enough. I think actually just the butterflies will be enough. I'm not a real over-the-top lacy person myself. So let's just put some butterflies on and see how we go. Put one there. Put one there. How is that? Okay. Yeah, I love the scallop border too. It's just very pretty. So there's our card. And I think really that's enough. I think with the double bow, it's enough frilliness for me. The little butterflies, I think it just keeps it really nice and sweet. You've got the thanks in there. We've got somewhere on the back that you can write. Now, the only other thing you could put on here is, if I just find my ribbon again, where have I thrown that to? Here it is. You just cut a small length of that, slip that underneath there. Just tie that off in a half knot. Whoops, may have cut this a little bit too small, but then I would have been cutting a lot of it away. Just a little bit of a half knot. Just like a little false bow, but it's still flat. It's not bulky, which is quite nice. Whoops. Okay, so there's the back of our card. So you could write on the back of that. And of course, if you wanted to, you could probably add a couple of little more butterflies on there, but I'm going to wait. And the other thing you could add it in here, which I might do, is a glue dot just to hold that down. I don't like putting glue myself all the way down because I just feel it just makes it look too stuck. But I'm just roll that up into a little bit of a ball, and that can just go straight underneath that knot, and that will just help hold that ribbon in place there a little bit. So there's our card. A little bit of work. It is very heavy on the back here because you've got 4 layers of cardstock just in this back piece here. But I think that was quite a nice, fun card, something a little bit different. Next week we might have to try doing something that's not so much a fun fold. I think some of my friends are starting to think that's all I do, because I have done a lot of fun folds in the last few months. But yeah, just a really fun little card, and you could do this in any cardstock. You just got to think about what you're going to do to decorate this piece here and to decorate that strip, because you do want that strip that's underneath there holding this together to sort of almost disappear into your design. So by having the thanks, which is quite big, holds that. The other thing you could do, if you wanted to make it stand out, is actually put the sentiment onto there. So you could have had a very thin sentiment going right across, or just stamp it directly onto that bar that goes across. But I'm really pleased with that. Now I've just got to work out who am I going to send this to. So I think Margie, this is the first time you have joined us today, I think. So if you would like to message me with your name and address, I will post this card out to you early next week sometime. So thank you very much for joining us. Have a lovely day. Have a nice weekend. And I'll catch up with you next Friday at the same time. Thanks. Bye for now.